Yep, it's that time already.
Alright guys, it's that time already. It's 2,000 mile review of the KTM 690. It currently only has 1,988 miles on it. By the time I get home, it will be 2,000. So, hey, figured I might as well do it now. You are looking kind of at a Hawaiian sunset. I can't get it for you, obviously, for the backlight, but I picked this nice little location here to do this review, and so here we go.
Alright, so here she is, my KTM 690. I bought her a little over a month and a half ago, and as you saw, I guess I got it turned off. She's rolling over 2,000 miles, so I wanted to give a little recap on what I've done to it, and what she's done for me, and what she's good at, and maybe what's in store in the future. So, give you a quick walk around. I put her through the paces a little bit. I've punched a couple of holes in the side case. I've blown out the seat cover. Launched her off some ramps today and blew off the tail lights when I landed. I've also had to reconnect the headlight a few times after doing some jumps. One thing I did is I added some Cycra, what do they call these things? Ultra hand guards that have the removable shields, and I've broken those off a few times, so I've got these bolts and some spacers. I haven't done a review on these Cycra hand guards yet. I probably will do a review on these Cycra hand guards, and these are really nice hand guards, and I don't think they're gonna get too good of a review for me. I had to put some spacers in there because, as you can see, it kind of hits my master cylinder, and it took a chunk out of my master cylinder today, so I'm not really too happy about that. But hey, it looks like we picked up a rock in our knobbies there.
So let's talk about the bike. That's kind of some things that are on it, but let's talk about this lovely girl ourselves. So my first review, I think a lot of people kind of think that I was bagging on the bike, and I'm not. I like this bike, and we're starting to love each other, I think. And I'm starting to, since she's got a few scratches in her, maybe more than a few, I'm the dumping it over on the $11,000 new bike is I'm a little bit past that point. And I've been kind of putting her through her paces, and I think we're becoming one. So what is this bike? This bike is not an adventure bike, and it's not like a hard enduro bike. It's a street enduro bike. So it's, what I think about this bike is that it's a very capable off-road bike that's absolutely, excuse my French, fucking awesome on the street. I mean, it's basically a 690 SMR with dirt bike tires. The thing on the street is awesome. It's just, it's bad to the bone, man. I put a I ride on the street quite a bit, and I have a long ways to commute to my rides. And I'm gonna splice some video in from the stuff that I was doing today on it. I put a 16 tooth counter sprocket on here, and on the highway now, even with these full-on knobbies that I'm running here, and let me turn the camera, this will be kind of a crappy shot, but hopefully you can see those bad boys. This bike touches triple digits like that. Totally comfortable at triple digits. I was at triple digits for a good amount of time today. You know, it's not reckless. These are huge long straightaways, and you just sixth gear. It hits triple digits in fifth gear, no problem with the 16 tooth on it. I don't know that with the stock 15 tooth that it will, but I mean, maybe if you just wrap the hell out of it, but in fifth gear with the 16 tooth sprocket, it hits triple digits. It's up around, you know, the 8,000 RPM mark, but sixth gear, you know, 110 miles an hour, no problem. No problem. I would say that it would comfortably cruise at 90. I mean, piece of cake. Even with these are full-on Metzler. I mean, just enduro tires, and it's really great. So part of this 2,000 mile review is how happy I am with this bike on the street. This is a 2018. Most of you guys know that. You've watched a bunch of my other videos. The street ability of this thing is great. I don't really find the fuel, what's the words I'm looking for here? Sorry, I'm a little dehydrated. I was riding in the 100-degree, basically desert all day. As you can tell by the dirt on my face, probably, but it's roughly 150 miles per tank, and most of you probably know that, and that's pretty good. I mean, very rarely are you needing probably more fuel than that if you're just kind of enduroing around. And my fuel economy on this thing, when I'm really riding the piss out of it, with the few little mods that I've done to it, is still about 45 miles to the gallon. So that's basically better than my KLR 650 that has less than half of the horsepower of this thing. So the fuel injection on this thing really does a good job of getting you some economy, and you still got loads of power, right? So when I'm just putting around on the streets, I'm finding it's usually right about 55. I've seen it as high as 57 miles per gallon. I mean, that's pretty awesome. So I'm not really too disappointed with the fuel tank size like a lot of people are. I thought I might be at first. I was actually, before I even bought it, I was looking at the under seat fuel tank option that you can order out of Europe. I don't think I'll do that now. I recently cut the top out of the airbox because I can't afford a Rottweiler kit, and at first I didn't think it made a difference, but I rode it off-road for the first time since doing that today, and it definitely increased the spunk of this thing. I think it's running too lean on top, which doesn't surprise me. I didn't remap it. Most of you guys already know that stuff, but I'm pretty sure the airbox mod made a difference, and I'm really glad that if you saw that video, that I added the multiple layers of bulk foam to the top after I cut the top off, because it was really dusty today, and that seemed to stop when I looked earlier. I haven't looked now, so I may update the holy shit, that was a bad idea. But anyway, now that I'm getting used to the bike, and I just put these Metzlers that I showed you on there, One thing that I think that anybody that's going to ride this seriously off-road needs to do is put rim locks in the bike. And I put rim locks in the bike. Unfortunately, there's no place to get wheel weights around here. So it's one of our first world problems living on an island. There's apparently no wheel weights, and I needed a few ounces to offset the rim lock so I didn't hop off the bike pretty much going down the road. So I'm gonna show you what I did. Went to 8 different stores, and I ended up at a fishing store and got fishing weights and had to cut them with like a tile saw and a drill so that I could mount them on the spoke so that I wouldn't fly off the bike going down the road. So here's a quick crappy shot of that. This is my 2-ounce wheel weight that I have safety wired and black taped onto the spoke, and it's that 2 ounces mostly countered the hop of the rim lock, and so even at the triple digits today, it wasn't too bad. So if you're gonna ride this thing off-road, you need to have rim locks in it. I'll probably double rim lock the rear, honestly, and because I see that the tube looks like it might have slipped again today, even though I locked it down pretty good. The front one, I'll probably just continue to run a single rim lock. I ran 8 PSI in the rear tire today. Really slick, hard pan, silty stuff with grass on it. We're talking pretty slick stuff. A lot of horsepower. This is a medium hard tire with really aggressive lugs, 8 PSI, and this thing is finally making some traction. So I had a really nice ride on it today. I'm a lot more confident in its off-road capabilities now. It's a very capable bike, and then which was kind of getting me in trouble a little bit because I was riding it probably a little more aggressively than maybe that's intended for. But now that it has traction, it handled it pretty good. I'm gonna say that the front suspension, I'm just not convinced it's gonna be any good without being redone. I still feel like it's undersprung. I'll show you some of the clips of the stuff we're doing today. I had it off actually a wooden ramp, funny enough. Was jumping it. It's really soft. The other bikes that I was with, though, the 450s and 250s and stuff, they were bottoming out pretty hard too. And if I just kind of gas this thing a little bit, the front end soaked it up pretty decent, but it sucks. It sucks in the bumpy stuff. I just don't have it set up right. I don't know what the problem is. Maybe I've lost my touch in suspension setup, and I don't know. But currently, I'm not real happy with the way the front end works. It almost shook me right off the bike. May end up needing a steering stabilizer. The ground's really hard here. The bumps are at all kinds of different angles, and so it may just be required to have a steering stabilizer here. A lot of rocky stuff. You're just getting kind of deflected all over the place. So it does head shake a little bit. It wanders a little bit on the street. Once again, I think it's suspension setup, and I most definitely could be to blame for that. If anybody that watches this has any suspension tips for the KTM 690 besides sending it away, it's going to cost me a gazillion damn dollars to send this away just to ship it out of here. And so I'm not really willing to do that. I don't really have the money to do it anyway, so I'm just trying to set it up in stock trim. I don't weigh a whole lot, but so I've covered the suspension. The engine's awesome, man. I really do think that I'm gonna maybe, if I hold on to this bike, which I'm starting to really like it. It's, you know, it's still probably not what I need. In hindsight, I might have been better off on a 500 EXC. But I didn't make the wrong decision buying this bike. It's just that I've I think I've prioritized the off-road a little bit more than the street, and it's kind of become my dirt bike instead of my enduro bike. And that's why I say that maybe I probably should have went with the 500 EXC instead and just dealt with a little more frequent service intervals. But I didn't make the wrong decision. This bike's still a good bike. I don't have buyer's remorse. It kind of felt like that a little bit at first, but you know, I just had to feel my way into it, and it's good. You know, I'm kind of thrashing it. Maybe the 500 EXE would have been a little bit nicer and a little bit cheaper to thrash, but it's KTM, man. I think it can hold up to it, and this engine's a fire breather. When I can afford a pipe, and you know, we can get this Rottweiler intake or something, or maybe I'll get the full Akrapovic system. You know, this thing, it barks, man. Maybe you see in the video coming through some of the corners, and you know, the suspension just doesn't hold the ground very well for me to take the corners very well. And I'm racing these like full-on dirt bikes in this silty, soft stuff, and this thing, you know, I can just roll out of the corner in second gear and it's just whoop, and you click into third, and those, just drawing those bikes in, you know, it's a 250 SX and a 450 SX, and it reels them in. And this is, you know, I'm a pretty decent rider. I'm not really very good at the moment because I haven't practiced in basically 15 years, but you know, these guys are riding all the time, and for me to even hanging with them all, let alone passing them and stuff before I, at least in the kind of the one moto that I did before I was super freaking tired. But because this thing is shaking my arms apart, right, going down these bumps because of the suspension. But it's got some juice, man, and if you can get it hooking up like with the rim locks and running the lower tire pressure, I think I told you, but I put 8 pounds in the rear today, and I put 12 in the front. And new tires. I never ridden on these tires yet, and so I didn't know what to expect, and it was hooking up pretty good. Even on the real hard pan dusty stuff, I got really sideways one time, but man, I was just laying it down. This thing was just basically bouncing off the rev limiter. Like, I don't know what the rev limiter is, but I'm trying not to look at the tach, I'm trying to look at the track, right? But it was 8,500 RPM, just I mean, hopefully I have some clips of it so you can see. But so we're starting to fall in love with each other a little bit, and hey man, the KTM 690 is rad. If you've been kind of on the fence, and I would say that you're not looking for a motocross bike but more of an enduro bike, and you know, just kind of getting some distance, but you don't want kind of a big pig adventure bike, this is a pretty damn capable bike for everything. It still is kind of a unicorn. It does everything really well. Like I said, it's very capable off-road. It handles great on the street. You know, it doesn't have the biggest fuel capacity, but you know, it's good. It's good. I'm gonna dial this down and let you guys go, but you know, if you're on the fence, I think it's still a pretty good purchase. You know, just evaluate what you're gonna do with the bike, and if you're riding gnarly off-road stuff, I mean, you really should just get the 500 EXC and deal with the service intervals. But this is very capable. So if you're gonna be on the street a lot, but you just need to hit some dirt, and maybe you don't have the fastest friends in the world or something, and you can keep up. It's pretty good, man. It's get some good tires on it. That definitely helped. I figured it would. And then put some rim locks in and counter and balance them so that you don't hop off the damn thing going down the street. Just run the air down in them, and so this thing can make some traction with all that horsepower. And I think you'll be pretty happy with the bike. It's a good machine. I haven't figured out what to name her yet, but hey, we'll come up with that name maybe by the 3,000 mile review. So I've done one service on it. I'm gonna change the oil every 1,000 miles. I think that just seems smart. I'm riding it pretty hard, and I figure, you know, I don't know if I'll change the filters every 1,000 miles, but I'll clean the screens and change the oil. And I'm using the Motorex full synthetic stuff. I think it's like $10.50 or whatever, and it's basically $25 for an oil change. And I'll just do that every 1,000 miles, and I think that's just smart to do. You know, it just gets clutch material and stuff in there, banging the clutch. Not that you should be banging the clutch on basically a 700cc motorcycle, but you know, whatever. We're gonna ride it hard. We should just change the oil, and it just seems like cheap insurance. But yeah, pretty cool bike, guys. If you got money burning a hole in your pocket and some space in your garage, and just buy one. They're pretty cool. This LC4 motor, it's not that, you know, old sluggy tractor thing. You know, my 640 Duke was a lot. I feel like it was kind of a lot like a KLR engine, and I didn't know what to expect when I bought this thing. I did zero research, right? I just thought that was the engine that I was getting, and I just wanted the KTM kind of chassis and quality. And the LC4 program, because of the Duke bikes, you know, they got these things breathing fire, man. This thing's pretty serious. It doesn't have that like two-stroke just bark, but it's powerful. I mean, it's fun to ride. I just rode back 60 miles on the highway in the twisties with a couple of guys on Harleys, and I think they were just thinking like, what the hell's this guy on the dirt bike hanging with us, you know, as they're passing cars at 100 miles an hour and stuff. But it was a joke, man. I mean, they're Harleys, they're not sport bikes, right? But you know, going through the corners, and I'm just thinking to myself, these guys are probably like, I can't believe that dirt bike's hanging on, and they don't know that I'm riding in the dirt faster than they do on the streets. But anyway, cool bike. 20-minute video. I'm gonna let you go now, and you can go eat your dinner. And I don't know, just if you want to see more 690 stuff, like and subscribe to my channel, because I think I'm gonna be riding this bad boy for a while. And yeah, I don't know, click those buttons, join my channel, tell a friend. We'll do some 690 stuff. I'm gonna have a few more reviews next week. I got a few new parts coming in. I'll update my my little airbox mod review, and yeah, you guys have a great evening. See you later.